the Web3 after party. So, Spaniko, I'm a new fan. I read about your bio before the conference, and just amazing what you've done and accomplished.
Thank you so much.
I didn't know. She was like, "That's my boss," and she's like, "That's my boss." I'm just fascinated the fact that you are a professor, you're an artist, you're also a woman entrepreneur in Japan. What excites you the most about Web3?
Right. Well, there's so many things, and actually, Emmy is also a professor, entrepreneur, and artist.
That's right.
And I think it gives so much. Like when I first started to understand what's possible through Web3, it was actually also thanks to Emmy. Like your son with the Zombie Zookeeper project. It was so Emmy got me into Web3 NFT because I've been working in like digital technology field for a long time, and I was quite frustrated the last 5 or 6 years about how most of the people learn about my work or see my work online, and we spend so much time online, but most of the buying and selling of the art happened in the physical space, and it just felt like something was missing, lacking, and to suddenly have this potential of like owning something in the digital world, and having your art as NFT, and making a community collection. It was, I couldn't sleep for like 3 nights when I was like, wow, like so this is it, like this is what was missing. And now I still feel like I'm really new, so I'm just experimenting by doing. Like I showed my new generative piece that I'm working on. So
does the idea of having a community connected to that piece excite you or make you afraid? Because
right.
It's like you gotta kind of manage and be a mayor of
that's the
your
thing.
community or your.
I'm kind of a bit against art being too utility based, because like before, like when you sell a painting or sculpture, you're not like, if you have this painting, you're going to get this and this.
Right. No, absolutely.
It just feels really odd. So I'm a bit, so I'm kind of shying away from utility and roadmaps a bit, because I feel like, it doesn't feel right for me. But like, I think NFT world is still figuring out that balance, I think.
So for you, if they buy one of the pieces, it's to buy the art.
I want it to be that way.
Like, don't call me. And Sean, I mean, your journey, you're straddling both East and West. Like, you see what's happening with NFTs in the West, you're seeing what's happening with NFTs in the East. What do you see any differences with what you're seeing here happening with like Galverse or VERBAL's projects or Carrefour and Fanabear? There's these NFT collections that are blasting out of Asia, that really Web3 is, thought leadership wise, is being led by the Western leaders on Twitter. What's your thoughts on all that?
I think that, the entire landscape is still so new, right? It's very hard to say who leaders are or whatever, because just because you're a leader this week doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a leader next week, and people are popping up. And so I think there's a lot of evolution still happening. I think people are still very much trying to figure out how all of these things fit together, right? And I think, what we discussed before, this sort of anonymity piece sort of plays into people not being entirely sure who to make the leaders in some way, as this person tweeted something that got a lot of attention, they must be a thought leader in this thing. Then the next day, like, maybe not. So I think that this is evolving a lot, and I think that Japan is a little on the sort of backside catching up, just because people by and large don't know about NFTs so much here versus in the West. But that's just because they've been paying attention to it a little bit longer. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be that way 6 months from now. One of the jokes we've made before is that one of the things that Japan is really good at is seeing something that someone else is doing and then kind of like making it better, and then here, I just like improved this thing, finding like the essence of it that makes it so great, and then really kind of honing in on that. And so I'm very excited to see what Japan can do with Web3 and everything, and I think it's all still being figured out, basically.
Going with that, Sean, to Emmy, we talked about this, but a lot of Web3's influence, meaning all the biggest projects,
Sure.
are influenced by anime, straight up.
Yeah.
Right. So whether it's Suzuki, whether it's Clone X with Murakami, or all the way even to Bored Apes and Mutant Apes. I mean, a lot of the lore, a lot of the mechaverse, and all these Oni Force. I could just keep going on and on.
Sure.
It's all anime,
Yeah.
but not from Japan.
Right.
and so, Emmy, how do you feel about that? And you being one of the first successful #1 NFT collections on OpenSea, founded by a native and local Japanese, with Ayaka, who's an incredible animator. Where do you see the potential for Japan IP creation ownership in Web3?
That's a good question. Yes, I've been frustrated to see like all those anime inspired. I'm very appreciate because I'm so happy to see Japanese anime influence is big, but it's sad to, none of the collections are involving actual Japanese artists. There are so many great artists out there, so I want to bridge the gap between like Japanese anime industry or Japanese individual anime creator into this Web3 world. And key of the success for Japanese NFT artists is, I think, secondary art. Like Japanese secondary art creation is massive. I think more than anywhere. Like most of the population in Japan draw. So that's the power. There are so many creative group that drawing commission for Azuki holder or some kind of blue tip holder, and they're doing commission artwork. And actually that makes opportunity to young creator to starting artwork, and they're trying to send out the message with Google Translate. And my English is not the perfect. My English got really brushed up for this like 4 months, 5 months, because I've been shilling on the Twitter space all the time.
Shilling. You learned that word in the last
Yeah,
one.
shilling. We have a many big chance, and I would like to, introduce many Japanese anime creator into the world.
Yes, you said something from Manamoka that really the NFTs created it's new industry, right? So now these artists in Japan that didn't have work in Web 2 all of a sudden have a ton of opportunity in Web 3. Were you saying?
Oh, we're going to teach a class together
On
this
NFTs?
fall. Yeah, in Gaydai. So let's see what the students are going to come up with. Yeah.
You will probably be the first official NFT university sanctioned class in the world? Maybe?
Possibly, maybe, I don't know.
Man, Japan's got to lead the way.
Because we've been teaching for 3 years
Yeah,
about like making a music videos and collaboration work.
Yeah,
But this year NFT,
Yeah, this is going to be NFT.
NF
So.
teacher.
Yeah.
NF teacher, there you go. Please use our Pikatoro Zombie Zoo music videos as a case in point. Verbal, I mean, look, it's an honor. All of us are sitting in the presence of greatness. I see you as a futurist. You have been always 10 years ahead of your time, whether it was Teriyaki Boys, to M-Flow, to Fast and Furious, to Fashion, Ambush, and of course now you're in Web3. You just blew away like 100 OG VCs going, what? This guy just created what, right? And I think you don't just talk about it, you do it, but I know this is just the beginning for you. Like, how many layers do you see? Like you were telling me the other night, you were thinking Web3 before you even knew what Web3 was. And now that it's starting to become real and here, what are the possibilities that your mind goes, 10 years from now, this is where I see Verbal, Ambush, Silver Factory?
Well, first of all, thank you for the kind intro. I'm super humbled, in the presence of greatness here. And, touching upon the futurist aspect, I don't really consider myself one, but I would say I'm really frustrated all the time because I think Sputs Nico just said it as well. Like 5 years ago, I was like, why can't the music industry be like this? Or why doesn't fashion industry adopt new things? And, I was waiting for the next disruption because a couple times throughout the years, there's some like art renaissance, fashion renaissance, music. Everybody just starts getting together and doing like, new concepts and like, introducing something different. So for me, I always felt like with the fashion brand that I do, the music that I do, and also because I was into tech, I think I've told you, I used to run a motion capture suit rental company because I wanted to do a performance where I'm controlling my avatars on stage. Everyone's like, why would you do that? I'm like, I just thought it was cool. Fast forward, I was like dabbling with VR. People are like, why would you do that? Just do a live show. It's like, well, because I think it's cool. And now in COVID, everyone had to do it online because,
That's right.
there was no physical shows going on. So I started like doing DJ sets in the, virtual reality space. And I was thinking like, how can I make it more easier to adopt? How can like I invite people more easier and like, and make it sustainable as a business? And then while all these moving parts were just moving, I fell into Web3. I was like, NFTs. Then you could token gate, then, have a NFT act as a ticket and like have a NFT unlock wearables. It's like, so whoever buys this NFT can have a merch that comes with it or, it kind of embodies like all creatives that I spoke about. So for me, I feel like I was just frustrated doing everything just because I believed in it, and it all kind of fell into place because of Web3. So where I see this going is, it's going to be massive. I'm looking to build the creator economy I'm telling you about, and specifically in the metaverse. I'm kind of pushing forward.
Give us a little alpha. Create to earn. I'm letting you coin that because I think you're the first one that ever shared that terminology with me. Yat has obviously play to earn with Axie Infinity.
Yeah.
Now there's learn to earn, there's move to earn with Step In, but create to earn.
Yeah, I think the whole to earn movement is very interesting, and I think that gives access to creators. Like, I think Emmy was mentioning about, there's so many people who draw here. I know a lot of manga artists who are just commissioning, and they're sort of like underpaid, and but they're just still doing it anyway, just because, what if they could just stake their work and get some reward, while they're waiting for their next gig? And if their digital asset or a physical asset sells, then that in and of itself is an income for you. So I think building another form of, business model so that the creators can, be sustainable. And in the metaverse, I feel that we could build something that's B2B, B2C, and C2C, where people could kind of exchange ideas. And you don't have to necessarily travel abroad to experience that. Like it could be, like metaverse could be a touch point for that economy. So, that's what I envision building.
We'll see you in 10 years, bro.
Well, hopefully sooner.
I get this energy talking to just hearing each of you respond like, this is like new, right? And it's exciting. And it's almost like we haven't fully figured this out, but we're in. And I know Japan as a culture, historically, it has its traditions. It has its hierarchies. This feels like a disruption, but at the same time, it feels almost like new opportunity. Anyone can get involved and anyone can, like you said, 2 years ago, you would have never thought, here you are, with the #1 NFT collection in the world. What do you think this means for creatives in Japan specifically? When Web3 fully unlocks, what does this look like? Go back to Splitnico.
I think recently I feel like Japan was quite slow getting to know NFTs, but I can see that there's a lot of interest growing in especially Japanese companies, businesses, because Japan has a lot of manga, anime, gaming, creative assets. I think a lot of people are seeing potential in getting these creative assets because Japanese people unfortunately haven't been great at making platforms like Google and Facebook, but Nintendo, for example, Mario and all these characters, Pokemon. So I think Japanese creatives have a lot of opportunities in this space, but
I think next maybe 2 years or 5 years, it's going to be, IP will be created in Web3. So I'm pitching to a major Japanese anime studio about the Galverse, and we have this concept. the artist is Ayaka and the creative director Emi. We already have a budget, and everyone's like, "Wow, what's going on?" So it's completely new things. But did that mean like individual creator can do fundraising with a liquidity?
And you're financing all of it yourself, and it came from the bottom up. Traditionally, it would have to come through a Tohei or someone pitching, and then them controlling and coming and developing it for years, whereas this happened in a matter of months. And here you are, the next potential Sailor Moon.
You know, I feel like one of the most exciting things is this is a chance for people who, in the old world, so to speak, were so far behind they could never catch up, to now jump into the front of that. And that's incredibly exciting as a creator of any kind.
I feel like it's super exciting for Japan specifically, because I feel like Japan's been lagging the last few decades and letting everyone rip off their IP, whereas now I could smell it. Like, everyone's like, I mean, I was in a restaurant at lunch yesterday in Shibuya and talking about NFTs, and some other group came by and said, "We heard about you talking about NFTs. We're an NFT fund." And I'm like, what? I'm like, what are the chances of that? Well, finish it off. Verbal, where do you see this going?
Well, all I can say is that Japan's a sleeping giant. It's got so much IP. It's just like language barrier. Like, someone's like, MetaMask, it's all in English. I don't get it. Like, that's it. You know, and it's about adopting this new concept. And I think Japanese people are so like prone and like able and like they already know it. They just don't know it. You know.
Yeah.
So I think something needs to unlock, and they'll just be like, wow, like that's it. Like where have I been? So yeah, I think we just need to be able to translate better so that, you know, it unlocks their creativity.
I love that. Web3 unlocks Japanese creativity. Let's go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Arigatou gozaimasu.